looking for James. He's got it. Coming to the end of the third quarter. LeBron James, a shot in history. LeBron stands alone. The NBA's all-time scoring record now belongs to LeBron James. An embrace from his mother, Gloria. His daughter Zuri coming in. The boys, Bryce and Bronny. Savannah is.
All right, everyone, welcome into another episode of the Lowdown Sports Show. This show is brought to you by the Basketball Podcast Network, presented by DraftKings. I'm your host, Drew.
I'm BJ.
And we're here to get the lowdown on all things basketball. And ladies and gentlemen, your all-time leading scorer in the NBA, LeBron James.
Mr. 38,340 and counting, Drew.
Yes, indeed.
A record that has stood for nearly 40 years, which Kareem, many people thought would never be broken. LeBron, you are the NBA's all-time scoring leader. Congratulations.
Man, it's amazing to think about those two right there. 70,000 plus combined points between the two of them, almost 75,000, probably even more so.
And what a better way to kick off episode 23 of season 3, even though he's wearing 6 now, but widely regarded usually with the 23. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome into another episode. That is definitely one of the things we're going to be talking about. It's what we're kicking off the episode with, as you can see. But plenty of things jam-packed into this episode. Got plenty of NBA trade deadline news that I'm sure is probably happening as we speak. It just happened not too long ago before we press record today. We got a lot of WNBA free agency talk as well. We're catching up on missed time from this last week. Sorry about that. Had some business to tend to. Plenty of things to talk about on that front as well. So we're trying to hash it out at least bit by bit and run through it for you guys today. Of course, BJ's best as well after some NBA and what's on Drew's mind before we get into WNBA. And, of course, that game that everybody just loves so much, With It or Quit It.
A fan favorite, Drew. A fan favorite, no less.
Yes, indeed. And BJ, if you're ready, we can dive on into this.
Drew, I mean, we were all snowed and iced in last week. We're having issues, and I've been rearing ready to go for over a week and a half now, ready for this episode. Let's get it, Drew.
Well, BJ, plain and simple, LeBron reigns supreme. And there's been a lot of discussion out in the Twitter sphere and social media in general, just like people that already had him regarded as their GOAT and was just up there and or just had him on the edge. Like he just needed to do a certain thing to get over the hump. Like, BJ, do you have LeBron as your GOAT now that he's the all-time leading scorer, or what does he have to do to get there if he is not currently?
Well, it's a very close debate. I know people, they lose friendships, they get their feelings hurt over this argument. I mean, you're ready to sock them out. You're going to see me this weekend for a Super Bowl party. I'm afraid to say the wrong thing, But I, for a long time, have always considered MJ, Michael Jordan, to be the greatest of all time. LeBron is alone in his own sphere right now, though. I don't. I think LeBron, in terms of the best basketball player that we've ever seen, probably has more so of an argument. But I think Michael Jordan is still, in terms of what he was able to do, his accomplishments, he's the GOAT to me. I mean, it's 1A, 1B, and I don't have a problem with either one of them being considered 1A, 1B. I don't think it's 1 and 2. I think those are the only two players that you really can make the argument for anymore, with Kobe being, closely right behind. Um,
When you say his accomplishments, do you mean his championships?
I don't mean just his championships, Drew, but that is a big part of it.
Okay. Well,
Michael Jordan could return to the game of basketball, not record a single point for over 1,000 games, and he would still have more points per game average than LeBron James does.
Mm.
Saw that stat on Twitter, courtesy the Ace of Spader, if I'm not mistaken. I'll see if I can find it. We can put it on screen. But
we'll have to fact check that.
I was gonna say I've saw it on Twitter, so let me see if I can find it again. But I definitely saw that.
Because Mike averaged 30 for his career of just over like 1,072 games, and Braun is averaging 27 over 1,400. I mean, that would be crazy. I mean, just 3 points? I don't know, but either way, when you talk about the accomplishments, um, and I'm glad you don't just rain on the rings thing,
Yeah,
but like LeBron's accomplishing it all. I mean, what has he
absolutely.
not passed MJ in besides rings at this point? I
Well, I
mean,
don't think it's
all-time points,
I don't
all-time
yeah,
assists, got him in rebounds, playoff points.
but
I mean,
it's not just stats, Drew. It's not just stats that,
well, you
tell the
said
story
okay.
of a player and his accomplishments. I mean,
Okay.
what we're talking about, we've seen LeBron play. We saw LeBron play from the time he turned 18 until he's, now he's in year 20 in the league.
Mhm.
Michael Jordan went to college, spent 4 years that he could have been in the NBA in college, retired for a couple of years, whether allegations of suspension from the NBA or what have you. Obviously, there's a lot of conspiracy people out there that believe that, but the official story is that he retired, went to play baseball for the Birmingham Barons, and then his second retirement after the second three-peat. He and then he came back a couple years after that. There were 6 years at the end, like in his, 3 years there, or a couple of years at least in his prime, where he ducked, in air quotes, Hakeem for when the Rockets were getting to the championship. And there were a couple years there at the end after his other three-peat before he came back that we could have seen, plus 4 seasons at the beginning of his career that he was in college for. I think if Michael Jordan had played those extra, I mean, we're talking at least, close to 10 seasons, if not maybe more. Who knows where Michael Jordan would have been in terms of stats across the, all-time leaderboard. We might have already had MJ pass Kareem in his career across
Mm.
the NBA all-time scoring leader, and LeBron would be chasing MJ. I don't think it's necessarily in terms of stats that determine what makes the true best player of all time. But LeBron has done, I think LeBron has been a better basketball player, if not, you know, up there in the conversation than Jordan. I think LeBron's game, especially in this era, is better than Jordan's. But I still think that Jordan just slightly is a little bit better, and it's not just because of the championships. I'm going to
And
that stat.
there you have it.
I don't have a problem with it going either way. That's just my personal feelings on it.
There we go. Uh, NBA trade deadline, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we've been jam packed with some stuff. I mean, we're just gonna kind of go with what's been done already and who's already played for some teams. So deals that have been done. Celtics traded Noah Von Leh and cash consideration to the Spurs for a conditional future second, and that was announced back in early January. Uh, the Wizards traded Rui Hachimura to the Lakers for none, a conditional 2028 second, and a 2029 second back on the 23rd of January. Kyrie Irving and Markieff Morris to the Mavs trade for Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, 2029 first and second round pick in 2027 and 2029. That was as recently as Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Spurs got Dwayne Dedman and a 2028 second from the Heat in exchange for cash. On Tuesday, Sacramento Kings traded for Kessler Edwards from the Brooklyn Nets in exchange for the draft rights to David Machino. And Kings also received cash considerations. Raptors got Jacob Poeltl from the Spurs in exchange for Kyle Birch, a 2024 first and second round pick in 2023 and 2025. As of today, as we record on a Thursday. Lakers traded Westbrook to the Jazz. I believe that was last night, right?
That was early yesterday. It was Wednesday. Yesterday. The big trade last night we'll get to, but that was the one that was supposed to be the biggest trade of the day yesterday. And it was like before the games had even tipped off.
Yeah, Westbrook to the Jazz in a 3-team deal with the T-Wolves. Lakers get D'Lo Russell back from the T-Wolves and Malik Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt from the Jazz. Timberwolves get Mike Conley, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and second-round picks in 2025 and 2026 from the Jazz, along with a 2024 second-round pick swap from the Lakers. The Jazz receive Juan Toscano Anderson, Damian Jones, and a 2027 first from the Lakers, along with Russell Westbrook.
Yeah. So this is now, Drew, just consider this. Since Russell Westbrook turned 30 and he got that big-time deal with the Rockets, he's played for 5 different teams now.
5 different teams.
I kind of want to see him suit up for a game with the Jazz before the Jazz end up buying him out so that we can get another team added to the list.
Who does that remind you of that had a career like that later on?
Like a player that was going all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Vince Carter. Vince Carter played for quite a lot of teams
but like
his
quickly.
30s. Quickly? Oh, man. If you've got the example, because I'm
Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah, Melo definitely has been around the block a few times, to say the least.
He was OKC, Houston, technically a Hawk, or I had 3 fingers, technically a Hawk, and a Laker.
Nick, yeah. Trailblazer.
A Trailblazer, yep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, after he left the Knicks, it was about 5 teams like that within about 6 or 7 seasons. He might have stayed a couple of years. One of those stops, I think it was OKC maybe.
Yeah, because they were just looking for like that veteran leadership kind of deal, and that's kind of that's where Westbrook has actually gotten to at this point. Because I mean, you're talking about he's in his 14th, 15th season in the league. He spent the first 10 with the Thunder, which were the Sonics when he was drafted, and now I mean, since then he's in his mid-30s now, and so time's kind of not on his side, if you will.
Yeah, and backtracking to the Kyrie deal. Kyrie first game last night for the Mavs. Mavs 1-0 with Kyrie now. Looking good out there. Markieff Morris did not play at all, though, even though the Mavericks were shorthanded. So I don't know if there's any plan to keep him or for him to just be like a veteran presence, clapper on the bench.
Like a Bobby almost?
Yeah, because I don't know why he wouldn't have saw at least some minutes really last night, but he really didn't.
I was to say,
a lot more time.
When you've got JaVale and you've got Christian Wood, where are you going to find time to play Markieff Morris down there as well?
I mean, yeah, but like Christian Wood might be on the move. He's halfway in it. You can kind of see on the floor now because he probably thinks he's getting traded. He only got 4 shots up last night.
Well, the deadline's passed, and he's still with the Mavericks, so
is.
I guess that's going to be a good sign. Obviously, there's a lot of rumors and a lot of stuff going on around this time of year, and
but
if
we
your
kept
name
him.
Yeah, we kept him. Rudy Gay. Rudy Gay had something pretty telling about what it's like for a player in this time of year to hear their name emerge as a potential like part of a trade or something like that. If you want to go ahead and hear this.
Mm-hmm.
I really honestly don't think y'all understand how hard it is. So I can sit here and talk, but I don't think any of you guys are moving your families anyway. So it's definitely tough, but it's something we signed up for, and it's part of the league. So that's more of what we're worried about. These people as people. Like I said, Mike is somebody I've known for 20 years, and I know it's hard for him to move his family, and I'm gonna talk to him regardless, but I know what he has to go through right now.
And for you, what was his reaction to this?
What was Mike's reaction?
Yeah.
I mean, I think everybody was pretty much surprised. I wouldn't say surprised, but just kind of like thrown off a little bit. But me knowing Mike, I know he's gonna make the best out of any situation. He's a positive guy. He's been a guy that's kept me sane for the past year and a half. So I know wherever he is going to uplift that locker room.
Well, so not just that, but I mean, like what Kyrie had said the other night about like he had the first time he'd ever been traded mid-season and just kind of like packing everything up and getting on the move and figuring it out. It's more than just, like you got to get to a different city. You got to find a different place to stay. There's a whole lot that gets messed up in your life when you get traded.
Yeah, and Josh Hart was recently traded. He was in pregame warmups with the Trailblazers as he was traded to the Knicks for Cam Reddish.
Yeah.
So, it can literally happen at any time with the NBA. That's a brutal part of it. Like, I think it was last year that somebody was traded in a game, like in the middle of the game, like the second quarter of a game.
I think
Somebody
you're
was
right.
traded and had to leave. I can't remember who it was, but I swear that's happened before.
Yeah, it's happened. You see it in baseball at times where they're, finding out like if they're playing an afternoon game, all of a sudden, oh crud, time to go, or like kind of night before of like what we've been talking about. But it's crazy.
And BJ, with all the moves before we get into this blockbuster one, have been made. What does this mean for the Lakers and the Timberwolves and the Mavericks with the moves that they made? How much better are the Lakers now? That's right.
Yeah, I was just say how much better are the Lakers? It's interesting because they're getting some good pieces in with the Rui Hachimura trade and getting a guy in like Mo Bamba taking the place of Pat Beverly, trying to get some presence interior. Obviously, one of the funny things is that you saw in that clip that we started the show off with, LeBron's going for the scoring record. Thomas Bryant's holding his hands up like, I've got the advantage in the paint. And then all of a sudden, like very next day or 2 days later, he's on the move to Denver. So it's kind of funny. It's like, don't upstage LeBron's moment, young man, or else you'll find yourself on a different team. As to whether it makes them better, I think it adds pieces to their bench, but I don't know if it makes them better. I think what they're going to have to hope for is that, LeBron and Anthony Davis are going to be playing at that superstar level like we've seen at times. If they can get hot, I mean, they're in striking range of not just a play-in spot, Drew. Right now they're 13th in the West, but they're not only within striking range of a play-in spot, they're in striking range if they go on a nice little run of avoiding the play-in entirely and getting up into that top 6 seeds territory. Like there's 4.5 games, Drew, that separate the 4 from the 13 in the West. That's just insane bonkers how stacked it is. And I mean, there's a big reason why there's been some big moves made across the Western Conference. You're seeing teams like the Clippers, the Lakers, the Suns, who we're talking about, the Mavericks, they're all trying to keep up and make moves to knock out of Denver, knock out of Memphis. Ja, are you okay in the West still? I mean, holy cow, what we've seen the past couple days, this is just insane to me to think about the talent that's coming in and just how completely flipped the balance of power in the league has shifted back from where it felt like maybe the East had more of an advantage. Now the West feels more stacked yet again, like it was for a long, long time in the NBA and has been for the majority of this millennia.
And it is now more stacked because, as we talked about Kyrie earlier, his former teammate Kevin Durant has made his way as of last night to the Phoenix Suns in a big old blockbuster trade on a
Yeah,
late Wednesday night.
yeah.
Phoenix
Early
Suns got
Thursday.
Phoenix Suns got KD for Jay Crowder, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, 4 unprotected firsts, 2023, 2025, 2027, 2029, and a 2028 pick swap. And TJ Warren also in the deal headed to Phoenix.
Just bonkers, just absolute bonkers, Drew. I mean,
And
you're talking about for uh, let's think about this. Think about what the Nets gave up, or not gave up, but you're talking about the whole implosion that has been in Brooklyn. You know, the last trade deadline last year was the Harden trade to the Sixers for Simmons, and then now Kyrie and Durant are both gone. We talked about this over the summer. We thought they were both going to be gone. Took until the trade deadline, but they have really completely hit the reset button, and they're going to begin the rebuild. But everything that they got back for Kyrie and Harden, it's not it's less than what the Jazz got for their trade in for Rudy Gobert to Minnesota. I mean,
yeah,
that's just bonkers.
as far as total picks, right? They got
It's
5.
not just total picks, but I mean, there was I think they got 4 picks. I think there was 4 total picks for the Nets, and then there were 5 picks for the Jazz, and then there was like 5 players on both deals or something like that. Like the Jazz ended up getting like something, at least something more additional than what the Nets got for both of those trades. It's crazy. Yeah.
Crazy how it works just to get it done. And we'll get to the WNBA later, but like KD was recruiting Stewie to New York.
Mm-hmm.
I've had this underlying feeling that whole thing with KD recruiting Stewie to New York, even though me thinks Stewie was going to go anyway,
Mm-hmm.
was just part of him and Joe Tsai's deal to butter him up to make a sweet deal for him to go wherever he wanted. That was a part of like, hey, if you help get us Stewie, then I'll help facilitate a proper trade for you and let you go somewhere where you can
Yeah.
contend.
I think you're right. I think she was going to go either way, but
Yeah.
that wouldn't surprise me if that was part of like the
Because what sense does it make
negotiation.
now when you look back at it? Like, if you knew you wanted to dip out, what were you recruiting her for? You know?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
So,
and I think that if honestly, Drew, I think if Kyrie had not requested the trade first, I don't think that either one of them would have been on the move. I think they both would have stuck it out, and maybe they would have moved on this offseason. We will never know at this point, but now we've completely seen the game shift. Phoenix has emerged as the second highest odd, or is like second best odds to win the title now, the West favorites behind the Celtics for the NBA championship. And I don't know, because that begs the question, because is the Chris Paul curse strong enough to overcome the best roster on paper, at least? I mean, the best team in the NBA potentially, talent wise.
well, I mean, that Phoenix Suns roster is lacking depth, which
Mm-hmm.
has been part of their issue throughout the course of the season.
Yeah.
The craziest thing about this whole trade, BJ, is they were able to keep their main pieces that they already had.
Yeah.
Booker, Paul, Aiton, all of them.
Yeah.
But the
I
depth
really
is
am
the only
surprised
thing
that
that.
Aiton wasn't on the move to make up for that.
But I'm not gonna say that this isn't gonna be a team that can contend for a championship still, but only if it's healthy. And
Mm-hmm.
its players have problems being healthy.
Yeah.
The
Durant's
only
still
one that
out for a
doesn't,
while,
only
at
one
least
that
right
really
now.
doesn't is DeAndre Ayton. Booker
Yeah.
has been injured. Chris Paul has had
Mm-hmm.
lingering different injuries over the course of the years, and especially in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So just got that one's got to be healthy. I mean, it can do something like the Aces did and be really star heavy in the starting lineup and not have the greatest bench and win it all. that
Yeah.
could happen for
But you got to
Phoenix.
stay healthy. Yeah.
But the health of Chris Paul and Devin Booker is what kind of wanes in. I mean, KD too, because he's had a couple of
Rough
bigger
injuries the
scale
past,
injuries,
yeah,
that have
past two
kept him out
seasons.
longer. Yeah, so we'll just have to. That's gonna be the theme for the Phoenix Suns. If one of those
Yeah.
stars is down, I mean, what can you do?
Yeah.
You just don't
I
have
mean,
enough bench power to really kind of muster through.
and for the Nets, I'm interested to see. This is really going to be, you know, it's going to be the Dodo and Dinwiddie show, because I mean, you and I both are not confident in Ben Simmons' ability to take a jump
No,
shot or anything
you
like
mean the
that. So
Seth Curry show?
maybe,
Mm,
it's going to have to be, or I mean, we know that Jay Crowder. It's not going to be the Jay Crowder show because he's on the
probably
move
not.
5 seconds going from Milwaukee to
Yeah.
Brooklyn. There's been a lot of like big time second round picks traded
Yeah, the
today.
last ones I saw dropped had like 4 second rounders and
5 to the Warriors as part of
five second
the James
rounders.
Wiseman trade.
Yeah, Wiseman. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think I missed that one. I don't think I
yeah,
missed the Wiseman trade.
yeah. Wiseman
I'll have to put up
on the
there.
move from Golden State to Detroit as part of a multi-team deal. Sadiq
Yeah,
Bey's going from Detroit to Atlanta, and Gary
yeah,
Payton
this is the one.
is going to go back to the Warriors from Portland. So
5 second-round picks from Atlanta and Kevin Knox from Detroit.
yeah,
Ugh, that's crazy.
yeah,
Oh yeah, and the Rockets got John Wall back from the Clippers in a
yeah. He
three-team
just
deal with the
got bought
Grizzlies.
out in June. He just got bought out in June to go to the Clippers, and now he's already, just when they thought he got him out, they pulled him back in.
I was just watching a clip today of him on a podcast. I think it was Theo Pinson's podcast about him hating the Rockets and how bad their management is, and
You think it's going to be another
James Harden
buyout?
going to little baby birthday party or whatever. Yeah, it probably will.
Mhm.
It probably will. That would be hilarious if he stayed. It just wouldn't make sense.
Yeah,
He'll probably do a buyout and try and go somewhere else, but good
I
luck
would
going somewhere
imagine
else.
so.
And
Wiseman,
Lakers got rid of Pat Bev
mhm,
and sent him to the
Orlando.
Magic with a second-round pick in exchange for Mo Bamba. So they're gonna have some depth. Some if the pieces can work together, it's gonna be like that 2020 Laker team.
Yeah, I think the team that has the best chance. You asked earlier which team like is going to improve the most. I think out of like the Lakers, the Mavericks, and somebody else, right?
Timberwolves.
Yeah, the Timberwolves. Honestly, I think, and I mean, I'm wearing this hat not by design, but just because we've had a pretty good past couple games without Luka Doncic. I liked what I saw from the Mavericks the past couple games. The having not having Dodo, not having Dinwiddie. I thought this was going to be disastrous. But I mean, this is another year. We're sitting here talking about a trade that Nico Harrison's made. This one feels like this is going to be what his legacy is judged on, how this trade ends up going.
And if they can re-sign him too
Yeah. Oh
after,
yeah. Absolutely.
because
If they keep him around long term, I mean that's huge. That's big time. They keep
and
Christian Wood and Kyrie locked in long
yeah,
term. You know, this championship is the ceiling for this team if
and
they keep them both long term.
BJ Mavs had a season high 41 in the first quarter in the first game with Kyrie Irving and no
Yeah.
Luca. So
Yeah.
imagine once you add Luca to that nucleus.
Yeah.
Luca, you've been getting like 20 points in a quarter by himself. We're gonna have 70-point quarters at a certain point.
They
Maybe. That's a lot.
they hadn't won. They had not won a game without Luca all year. They've won now 2 in a row. One without Kyrie even.
Yeah.
It's going to be insane. But I really do think that the Mavericks are probably the best positioned as a result of their trades out of the 3 that you mentioned. I think the Timberwolves, they kind of gave up a little bit of their pieces that they had just acquired or brought in over time. But I think that the best team is out of those 3 that you mentioned is going to be Dallas.
Reggie Bullock's gonna have a heavy responsibility as the only real wing defender over
Yeah.
there, and he's a real inconsistent shooter. Like last night, he made his first 5,
Yeah.
BJ, and then he missed his next 5
Yeah. I mean,
and 6, I think.
yeah,
Oh wait, he started 5 for 5 and then went 1 for 9, and that was like with 4 minutes left in the fourth. I had
wow.
tweeted that out.
Yeah. I mean, I've really been impressed with what I've seen from Josh Green the past couple games.
Oh
Jaden
yeah,
Hardy
he's
had a
been
yeah.
nice, and
Jaden
Hardy has showed up. So
yeah.
those young guns playing well is what the Mavs are gonna need
Yeah.
to keep that going for when you've got Kyrie or Luca sitting at any point in time. That same
Absolutely.
energy, but I love it,
Absolutely.
Beach. I
I
love
do
it.
too.
A
I've got
lot of
one other thing real quick about James
yes.
Wiseman.
Okay.
He ends up playing just 60 games with the Warriors, which
Hmm.
is the fourth fewest by a top 2 pick for his debut team. Can you name anybody that played less games that was a top
Greg
2 pick?
Oden.
No, I was surprised that he was not on
Oh,
this list either.
Anthony Bennett.
Yep, he's third with 52
Oh,
games
he's
played.
third.
Yeah,
Oh
there's two
gosh.
other guys that played less.
I'm thinking of. It was in the 2003 draft, right? Was it the? Oh, no, I don't know.
This one of them is not 2000. Both of them are not 2003. One of them is more recent than that. But number 2 on the list is Purvis Ellison. He was drafted in the top 2 back in 1989. In fact, he was the number 1 overall pick.
I
He
don't even
played
recognize
just 34 games with the Bullets. And then number 1 on this list, Markel Fultz, played just 33 games
Oh
with the
yeah, with the
Sixers.
Sixers.
Hmm.
Yeah, Markel
So
Fultz, man.
interesting
I
stuff.
forgot that he was the number 1 pick.
Yeah, I mean, it's so forgettable, unfortunately. I mean, that was kind of just a weak draft class as a whole, but
Oh yeah,
I mean, goodness gracious.
that's a good little thing right there. Where'd Wiseman go again? Pistons.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay, gross.
he'll be in Detroit. There's a lot of good young talent in Detroit when they're fully healthy.
Golly. Oh
Mhm.
yeah, and Gary Payton back with
Back to the Warriors
Golden
as
State.
they sent
It'll be nice for them.
Kemp, I think, over as part of that deal.
He can absorb those Curry minutes
Yeah.
while he's hurting all the time.
I mean, you got to give credit to Peyton. He got his payday, and the Warriors were like, "We need your defense back,"
Gotta
and
get
so
him
they
back.
traded for him. So
Yes, indeed.
can
Well,
we not?
golly, a lot of deadline stuff. Deadline has been passed now. Everything is what it
Yeah,
is, and we'll see how the second half
yeah.
of this
It's going to be
season pans
crazy. I mean,
out.
I didn't think we were going to get as much movement this year compared to what we had last year, and yeah, I think
Yeah,
this year topped it.
last
I really
24
do.
hours have been insane with what's been going on. Like
Yeah,
a whole lot of multi-team deals with like a total of like I don't know 16 or plus picks.
yeah. There's been
Most of them in the second round,
yeah,
five
there've
and
been like
four.
13, 17 picks in this all in the second round. It feels like that have
Yeah,
been swapped.
I was checking my phone. Beep beep. 5 second round picks. Beep beep. 4 second round picks. What?
Yeah,
What is
it
this?
like I was watching the NBA Today special and just seeing like all the second round picks. I'm like, huh, why is that? Why is it second round picks? And then I saw a tweet said because Oklahoma City has all the first round picks.
Yeah, and Brooklyn now too.
Yeah, Brooklyn's got them all now. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Golly.
crazy, man. It is
That's
crazy.
well, that is the 2023 NBA deadline, ladies and gentlemen. And now, finally, it's time for BJ's best.
Well, thank you, Drew. I mean, it's tough to top a lot of frenzy movement across the National Basketball Association the past couple days, but I mean, obviously, all the moves that we've seen have the potential to work out to be the best for the teams that have been making those moves. But as for me today, Drew, my best of the best. You know what today is, don't you?
What that be?
Today is February the 9th, as we
Mm-hmm.
record on a Thursday.
Okay.
And it is National Pizza Day.
Mm.
Yeah, it is a good day
Well,
if you are a lover of the cheese, the mozzarella, the bread, all in a nice little triangular slice. Or maybe you don't like a triangular slice. Maybe you want to get you a square slice, or even possibly just consume the whole round circle if you're
well,
hungry enough. Personal
I'll tell
pizza.
you what, BJ, this is another one of those times where you have hobbled into my mind of what's on Drew's mind.
All
So
right. Well,
BJ's best is what's on Drew's mind, so we might as well combine this
all right,
today.
we can certainly do that, Drew. I don't think I picked the same thing you did because I went and looked And I found this article that has some of the best pizza places in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, where to find the best slices of pies across the DFW area. So,
Mm.
you're talking about the big game this weekend. I'm sure we'll be talking about that when we talk about our friends over at DraftKings here in just a moment.
Let me ask
Uh,
a question.
but
Is
did you say ask a question?
yes.
Mhm.
Is Pi 5 on this list?
I don't think I saw Pi 5. No.
What?
Yeah,
Nah,
let me look
I'm
back
done.
through it,
I don't
but
even
I
want to
don't.
play this game anymore. This isn't fun. No, I don't like it. No. What?
There's a lot of good places. A couple that I've had, and one that we're doing the big game party this weekend. I think there's somebody is going to be bringing a pie from one of these places. Um, just I'll have to let you know for sure, but I'm pretty sure that's what I remember hearing. So we'll get it figured out. But are you ready for the list, Drew, of the best places to get pizza in Dallas Fort Worth?
Let's do it.
All right. So this is not numbered. So this is just kind of it's not even a tier list. It just has
How many we
these,
got?
and we've got 17. But I'm just going to go through
Whew,
and
a lot of pizza.
yeah, I'm just going to talk about
Mm.
just a couple. I'll mention them all, but
Okay.
so first one on the list, not number one or anything like that. La Pizza and La Pasta at Italy Dallas, which is at North Park. It says Italy wouldn't be the all things Italian culinary extravaganza it is without pizza on the menu. And the pizza Napolitana doles out in 90 seconds from its 900-degree wood burning oven, shines as a prime example of the dough, sauce, cheese, holy trinity. Make sure you check out the Pizza Fritta Montanara, appetizer-sized pies with deep fried crust that exemplify the classic Naples street food. So that's a pretty good looking pie, if I do say so myself, over at North Park. Sylvan Avenue Tavern over at Sylvan 30 is on this list. Also on this list is one that I've heard a lot of good things about, and I think, Drew, this is the one that we're going to be trying this weekend. This is a place that has a couple locations, one in Fort Worth and one in Deep Ellum. It's called Serious Pizza. Why would you settle for a typical 12-inch round when you can score a massive 30-inch wonder? This Deep Ellum cult favorite closed, then reopened under new management back in 2021 with the addition of a floating DJ booth suspended from the ceiling. You can cart in a gaggle of friends to create your own giant pie or choose a signature number like the Jerk, showcasing red sauce, mozzarella, bell peppers, red onion, cilantro, jalapenos, and spicy jerk chicken. So that does look like a good pie, if I do say so myself. We'll have to,
Okay.
if that may be the one that we end up getting on Sunday for the big game.
Okay.
Other favorites on this list include Cadillac Pizza Pub in McKinney, Cane
Mm.
Rosso. There's multiple locations across the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Mm.
Cavalli Pizzeria Napolitana, or Napolitana, I should say, also in McKinney. And then DeLuca Gaucho Pizza and Wine, which also has multiple locations. This one takes a Brazilian steakhouse approach to all-you-can-eat pizza, with gauchos roaming the upscale dining room, pausing at each table to offer thin slivers of at least 15 different pies, which makes it easy to try every single pie without feeling like you're going to pop. Lobster bisque, arugula salad, Kobe meatballs, and dessert pizzas are included in the fixed price meal. The garlic picana pizza perfectly infuses the crust with Brazilian flair, courtesy of house ground steak, slow roasted garlic, and fresh parsley. Earl's 377 in Argyle is another location on this list, as is Eno's Pizza Tavern. There's a uh, pretty good spot there. The multiple locations around the area. This one I've had, I think, once or twice before. It's called Fireside Pies, one of the earliest innovators on the scene. They continue to think outside the pizza box. This is reminiscent of a or there was at least a pizza place in Victory Park that I really liked. It was called Mad Pie. I believe it's closed now, but this is kind of very similar. The Medi has a truffle porcini cream that's then smothered in goat cheese, arugula, red peppers, red onions, and shaved Parmesan, as well as Kalamata olives. There's also if you're if you need a vegan option, you can add Beyond Sausage to liven it up. So that's a good one over at Fireside Pie. Greenville Avenue Pizza Company. That's one of the originals down there in around Greenville Avenue and Lake Highlands area. Holy Crust in Trinity Groves is another one on this list. Mimi's Pizzeria in Preston Hollow. Olivella's, I should say. Neo Pizza Napolitana. It has multiple locations. Parnanope Ristorante, downtown Dallas. And the last one I'm going to talk about on this list, in fact, the last one on this list, is Zalet. Zalet is one of my favorites. I had it a couple of years ago for the first time during the pandemic, and it actually is one of the best pizzas I think I've had. They cook it in old school deck ovens, have a nice chew as opposed to super crispy texture. And there's just creativity all around the menu, whether you want the faux shizzle, which is recreating all of the flavors of a hot bowl of the famous Vietnamese soup, or if you want something like sriracha, or sriracha, I should say, which is half ranch and half sriracha sauce that comes with each order. You'll definitely want to order a few extra, according to this. I think that sauce was pretty good when I had it. So that's, it's good sweet, good salt, good spice. It's good. So Zalet is the last one on the list of the best pizza places across the DFW area, Drew.
Okay, well.
So we'll be seeing what we can try this weekend potentially. Get us some pizza coming in for the big game. And that's BJ's Best, Drew. I know we're going to shift gears and do what's on Drew's mind now, since we're thinking on the same wavelength today.
Yeah, we're in the pizza frame of mind, ladies and gentlemen. National Pizza Day. And why not start anywhere else but the toppings on pizzas?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to run through and see how Mr. BJ feels about these toppings and if he would have them on his pizza.
Okay.
I'll toss in my little takes as well.
All right. I appreciate that.
All right. Our classic here, pepperoni.
Yeah, I have had pepperoni. I like pepperoni. I don't think it would be my first go-to, but I will have it if there is nothing else available.
We'll see if we can find your go-to. I like a classic pepperoni too. That was the first one that I went to when I, a kid who loves cheese all the time, and that's the first one I went to, and then eventually moved up from there.
I was cheese first, and then it seems like going from one low to one high extreme. I went from cheese to supreme of all things.
Oh, what a jump!
What a jump indeed, but it's good.
Interesting. So you'll approve of this next one then, sausage.
Yes.
On pizza.
Yeah.
And more specifically, Italian sausage too.
Yeah.
You're an Italian sausage guy? Okay.
I like Italian sausage.
Because some people like regular sausage, but not Italian sausage. They say it's too big.
I actually prefer the Italian sausage, I think.
Okay, there you go. Man of many tastes.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, mushrooms.
Mushrooms, yes.
Oh, you're a mushroom guy on a pizza?
Yeah. Mushroom comes on the supreme.
True, fair. I'm not a mushroom guy. I don't even eat mushrooms in general, so
I don't mind them now. I mean, it's been a while since I've had a supreme, but I don't mind if it's on there.
Okay. Bacon, regular bacon.
Yeah.
What about Canadian bacon? Yeah,
in fact, one of my favorites growing up was not just cheese, but hamburger, Canadian bacon, and onion.
Ooh. Well, that answers the question for the next one, because it was onions.
Yes.
For your pizza. I'm not an onion guy in general, so I definitely don't want it on my pizza.
Have you ever had barbecue sauce on your pizza, Drew?
I have.
It's good, isn't it? Yeah,
it's an interesting taste, but I would not spend my money on it.
One of the best ones that I had, it was like beef brisket, barbecue sauce, cilantro, and I can't remember what else was on it. I think onion as well. It was called the Maverick. It was the one that I was telling you about at Mad Pie.
Okay.
Before it closed. That was such a good pizza, man.
I've had a barbecued chicken once, but
barbecue chicken is delicious too.
It was interesting, but I wouldn't, place an order for one for me to eat. It's not my cup of cheese.
Yeah.
Alfredo.
Yeah.
Alfredo guy, cool.
Yeah.
And you said you did supreme, so you definitely like some peppers
Yeah,
on
green
your
peppers. Yeah, bell
pizza.
peppers.
Yes. Jalapeno peppers as well.
Not a big jalapeno guy.
Really?
The jalapeno is I mean it will open up my pores and I'll be either sweating or I'll be like having all the mucus drain out. Not trying to be too gross, but
Heck
I
yeah.
mean that's what happens for me is just the spiciness gets to me a little too
Okay.
much.
You like a little chicken on your pizza, I'm sure.
I do like chicken on pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, since you like supreme, you like black olives.
I can do
But
with or without the olives. I mean, I can eat. I'll
okay.
eat them sometimes, but sometimes if I don't want a supreme pizza because of the olives.
Do you like one over the other, green or black olives?
No, it's just olives in general.
Okay.
But
What
I think
about
out of the two, probably black olive would be better.
some spinach?
Spinach, yeah, absolutely. I think spinach could go.
Okay.
Spinach and
Okay.
tomatoes. I've had
Oh, look
yeah,
at you,
yeah. You get the
man.
like put together the spinach and tomato with
You might be
bacon.
able to get on your own little health kick if you just like order some pizzas with all that healthy stuff on it.
Well, the problem is, Drew, the all the
Supremes.
healthy stuff on
It's
top of it
on
is one
bread, I know.
thing, but the pizza itself is where the problem is.
That's okay. You'll pretend like it works.
We'll pretend like it's like drinking a Diet Coke to go along with your Big Mac. It's
Ah.
healthy.
And I believe you said tomatoes already.
Yeah, I do like tomatoes.
This one's
I know
tomato
you have a
on
propensity to hate them though, so
this one. And beef on
yeah,
your pizza, of course.
yeah.
And we did Canadian bacon already. What about some pesto?
I don't know if I've had pesto before. If I had, I just
It's
didn't even
tomato
know it.
based.
Oh, well, I mean, if it's like the normal tomato pesto sauce or whatever, then yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
What about some pulled pork, BJ, on a pizza?
yeah, pulled pork, absolutely, it's delicious.
Eh? What about pineapple on pizza?
No.
There you go.
No. There's where the
Ah.
controversy comes in. Nope, it doesn't belong, man.
Had me nervous there for a second.
I was gonna say I'll do a whole lot of things on my pizza, but pineapple's not one of them.
Okay. And now I want to ask you about some pizza crusts and like types of pizzas from some
Okay.
restaurants. How do you feel about Domino's pizza crust?
I like Domino's pizza crust. It's pretty good.
Okay. Are you a stuffed crust guy?
Occasionally, I more
Okay.
often than not do not get
Okay.
the
Where have you all had stuffed crust from? Do you know?
Pizza Hut and maybe I can't. Does Papa John's have stuffed crust?
I think so.
I can't remember if it's Papa John's or if it was Little Caesars or I can't remember. I distinctly remember the Pizza Hut stuffed crust more than anything though.
So you probably have that one as the best one.
That's the one that I think I had
Hands
the
down.
most often, and
Okay.
I don't know if I'd say best, but I'll go with that.
Okay. Some flatbread crust.
Yeah, I like flatbread. I more often than not, Drew, will get like a hand tossed, but
Mhm.
I don't mind flatbread.
What about, like a Domino's style thin crust?
Yeah, I like Domino's thin crust. Like I said, I my go to is more the hand
Hand
toss, but
tossed.
I don't mind the thin crust. If
What
that's where you
about
get the little square pizza.
deep dish crust?
I can't say that I've had a good deep dish. Now, if we make our trip up to Chicago and go see the Sky and everything like that play up there, we
Yeah.
should get a traditional Chicago deep dish.
Hey, sounds good to me. Neapolitan crust.
I can't say that I've had Neapolitan.
I think I'm saying that right. Yeah. You'd know it when you saw it. So like you
Okay.
see it, I think it almost kind of reminds me of brick oven crust.
I mean, if it's what comes out of a brick oven, then I'm sure I've had it. I just not sounding familiar.
And last but not least, New York style crust.
I like New York style crust.
Not too bad, but I'm
Not
like
too
you.
bad.
I usually order hand tossed,
Mhm.
or I'll get a thin crust.
Yeah.
Sometimes those are pretty good, depending on where you're getting it from.
Yeah, and I think it depends on where it's being made and like what's on it as to whether or
Hmm.
not you want like the deep dish or if you want the New York style or if you just want a regular hand toss slash thin crust.
Right, for sure. Okay, well, that is my portion of
Pizza talk
the pizza chat.
or pizza time, if you will.
Hey, pizza.
Pizza.
And that
Oh
is
my goodness.
what's on Drew's mind.
Good stuff. What's on Drew's mind and BJ's best? We're on the same wavelength this week. And Drew,
And BJ, have you had pizza today?
I have not had pizza today.
Do you
No.
plan on having pizza tonight? You could get one.
Probably not, but I'm
Mm,
definitely thinking about it now.
okay,
I'm gonna have to see if that's something that the fam wants. We'll see
okay,
if we get some pizza
okay,
today.
okay.
But we were on the same wavelength, Drew, for our what's on Drew's mind and BJ's best. Are we going to be on the same wavelength when we talk about the big game or whatever else may be going on with our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook today, Drew?
Man, I don't know, but you NBA fans out there, it's time to bring the hoops action to the palm of your hands in these little phones, these devices that you have.
These ones?
Yes, those
This one. Okay.
in the hands, your hands.
My hand.
With DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. This week, new customers like you can bet $5 and win $200 in bonus bets instantly.
That's right, Drew. And plus, for a limited time, that's not going on forever. It's only here for a limited time, Drew. All new and existing customers
Mm-hmm.
can get a no sweat same game parlay
Mm-hmm.
every day.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what you do. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app on your phone today. You opt in, place a same game parlay on any NBA game. If it doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus bet back. So let's say you want to look at some of the games tonight. Well, you've got the Denver Nuggets on the road. I like them big over the Orlando Magic. Phoenix is taking on the Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta is currently favored, but I mean that Phoenix nucleus. I don't know. I'm starting to think that Phoenix is starting to get their trajectory right. I'm leaning Phoenix in this game, and I'm leaning Chicago over the Brooklyn Nets. I know that's a bit of a surprise, but
Ooh.
that's just kind of where I'm feeling
Wow.
things tonight. And then you can look at tomorrow's action across the NBA dial. We'll look at some of the games. Boston is a huge favorite over Charlotte. I like the Knicks to go into Philadelphia and get a win over the Sixers. And I'm thinking for the night game, I like the Cavs to take down the Zion-less Pelicans on the road. So that's what you do. You go and place a same game parlay on some of those NBA games. If they don't hit for whatever reason, it's okay. I can take a little bit of a risk here because I'm going to get that bonus bet back.
Hey. Download the app now. Sign up with code TBPN. New customers can bet $5 on the NBA and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA with code TBPN.
Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. All right, Drew. Well, we've been teasing this for over almost 2 weeks now that we were talking about some of these moves that were going to be made. Well, I mean, when they started coming out, they were coming out fast and furious. We've got two of the best players in the league going and finding some new homes across the WNBA. The dynasty building potential super team in New York and the dynasty potential building team out in Las Vegas as Brianna Stewart leaves Seattle to head to the New York Liberty, who already had Jonquel Jones that they acquired in a trade, and Candace Parker going from Chicago to the Las Vegas Aces. My goodness, some earth-shattering moves across the W so far. And that was just, what, first couple days of free agency?
Yes. Yes, we're long overdue for talking about this. Last time we were talking with you, we didn't have a clear avenue of where Stu was going yet. We just had some guesses, and she is with the Liberty. And Dallas Wings have lost Isabel Isabel Harrison to the Chicago Sky after meeting with multiple other teams. And, just shortly after, before we were about to record this episode last week, or, before we were intending to get one out, Courtney Vandersloot announced that she wasn't coming back to Chicago and is now in New York. Mystics got Brittany Sykes. Lexi Brown staying in LA. Tierra McCowan staying in Dallas. Candace Parker going to Vegas.
Yeah.
Christy Tolliver returning to Washington. Alicia Clark going to Vegas. Let's see. Which one?
Just amazing, Drew.
Atlanta Dream re-signed Nia Coffey and A.D. Durr. Erica Wheeler going back to Indiana, where she was an all-star. Allie Quigley sitting out this season as Sloot makes her way to New York. NECA and Chennai expected to re-sign with LA.
Were you surprised by Quigley sitting out as opposed to just retiring? Because I think
yes.
I was gonna say I think she still wants to play, but she doesn't want to play without some of those gals out there. I'm really surprised that she just didn't make a move to go elsewhere. She's just sitting out.
She probably will end up retiring. I think she's 38. She's a 14-year vet, and she could. I don't see the point in coming back after this, but
maybe trying to.
I expected her to retire once. I figured Sloot wasn't staying.
Yeah, maybe one more chance to chase a ring and then call it quits. Not sit out the whole season, but maybe just sign like a half a season contract and potential playoff run. Maybe.
Who knows? Sophie Cunningham coming back to Phoenix on a 2-year deal. Azrae Stevens going to the Sparks. Crystal Dangerfield, a part of that deal earlier that brought Natasha Howard coming to Dallas, officially signed about a week ago. Courtney Williams going to Chicago. Just trying to run through it all here, and we'll hash it out. Kia Nurse leaving Phoenix, leaving Phoenix, and where did she go to? Seattle. Yeah. And Elizabeth Williams signing a 2-year deal with Chicago. Natisha Heidemann staying in Connecticut. Demi Whitcomb returning to Seattle, leaving New York. Let's see, did I miss anything? BJ. Nothing big. Storm re-signed Magbagor. I said Izzy. Okay. Let's see. I'm missing BJ. DT said she intends to re-sign. Yeah, I said Azrae. There was one that happened earlier. Tiffany Hayes was in a trade from the Dream. She's traded to the Sun for the number 6 pick in the draft, according to Vopel from ESPN. First reported by Winsider. I'm sure that was Rachel Galligan. And I think that's up to date.
Yeah, I was just saying.
I'll refresh just in case.
We've seen obviously nothing official, but both DT and Brittany Griner have indicated that they plan to re-sign with the Mercury. Looking around at some of the other names that remain unsigned, Drew, we've still got some big names out there that have not made some decisions yet. Liz Cambage, obviously. Tina Charles, she may decide not to come back for another year. Elena Coates is still out there. Liz Canane. Obviously, we talked about, Griner and DT. Mariah Jefferson is still unsigned. You got Emma Mieseman, who has not made a decision as of yet.
The status of Marina Mabry is still up in the air, what she's going to do. But, there's been indications like both ways a little bit. I've been on the train that she's going to stay in Dallas from an earlier indication last year. But there's been a very minor indication just because I'm searching, navigating through, and running into stuff. She recently changed her profile picture and her header on Twitter that were both formerly Dallas Wings things. and I can't remember exactly if she had it in her bio, but those were definite, pictures that had Wings gear on, and now it's
Uh-huh.
switched and changed all of a sudden. What does that mean? I don't know. It could mean something, could mean nothing. But if it means nothing, then I was on track with thinking that she was going to stay here all along. And this would be a last minute heel turn. Like, okay, maybe I was wrong.
if it ends up meaning nothing, I mean, it means something because everything, all the emoji analysis that we had to do with Brianna Stewart, even though
Yeah,
we were pretty sure she was going to end up with the New York Liberty. I mean, stuff like that. It matters when there are still things out there that haven't been decided. I mean, you can't exactly do that and not think that anybody's going to notice. I
yeah.
mean,
And the Wings are. I mean, they've got 3 players out at USA camp right now: Marina,
mhm,
Rika, and Natasha. They're posting pictures with Marina, but I've seen a team post happy birthday to a player and trade her 2 days later, a day or two later. So, I mean,
yeah,
that same thing could happen here, like posting Marina on the Twitter and the Instagram or whatever, and still, not be able to re-sign her and her go somewhere else. So,
yeah. Of course,
who
I
knows what's
mean,
going to happen there? It's still kind of up in the air at this point.
back with your story about seeing a team tweet on happy birthday or whatever, a lot of
Mhm.
times it's an intern that's or a scheduled post or something like that that's supposed to say, not somebody that's actually in a position to make a decision on that front that would
Oh
be
yeah.
tweeting that out. So I mean it happens. Obviously it's terrible timing, but it does happen. So a lot of big moves, Drew, and I meant to ask you this last week, and we kind of have already talked about it. Um, is this the beginning, or are we seeing the WNBA catch up to the era of super teams like we've seen across the NBA the last decade? Is this the beginning, or do you think this is kind of just a continuation with what we saw with Vegas and Chicago over the past couple of years?
I I don't know because I'm not sure how we'll sustain it going forward. I mean, you're definitely gonna have a couple of teams stacked up, and it's been like it before. I mean, the Lynx were essentially a super team, and I mean, so they've had the looks of it before, and
Mm-hmm.
with
And
its success
Seattle,
growth.
obviously, but they had a lot of talent that they drafted in.
Yeah, and
Uh,
that was really kind of like a big two with Bird and Stewie.
yeah.
Um, so it was really kind of just the Lynx era, but uh, Ace has got like 5 people. I mean, the whole starting lineup plus a bench player maybe. So what is
Hmm.
it? It's it's Wilson, Parker, Gray, Plum, Young, and oh man, who's another big one I'm missing? Is that it? Yeah, those starting
I was just
five.
that's a starting five.
That's a
Yeah,
solid starting five. And I mean, what
absolutely.
New York has right now: Sloot, Ionescu, Stewie, John Quell, and what Benaja Laney in that other spot.
I
I
think so.
mean,
Yeah.
uh, it kind of opens the door for playing time for young players who get drafted to the weaker teams, but
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work out. We'll see, but with expansion being delayed, it doesn't help things to be able to make super teams so people can still make rosters. Um,
Hmm.
if you're not, man, a sizable contributor, that's if you happen to make it to one of those teams, you won't be playing much. So it just poses the question, like, when these teams are made like this, how will the draftees make their roster? So like even a Dallas Wings roster would be hard to make right now.
Yeah,
Like whoever Dallas drafts, and they got the what, I think it's the third pick overall.
I think so.
Then that's probably going to be like a Haley Jones or another small forward. Like we need a wing player, a small forward type, but neither one of the ones that are projected to be where Dallas is, they don't play. They're not good defenders, and that's what
Yeah,
Dallas needs out on the perimeter. We don't need
I
necessarily
know.
shooters. We had a 3 and D. You traded her, and then
Yeah.
you had Alicia, a two-way player who could shoot it as well. That you traded her.
Hmm.
So I mean, you got to replace some defense out there. Or the wing defense is going to be pretty rough because your perimeter guards are offensive players, except for
Yeah.
Veronica. I mean, she's the only like pure defender out there uh, that can kind of play 2 ways. She's I know she's been working on that offensive game over the summer. But Dallas needs some wing stuff. But like when you come to the Aces, like depending on how those players from last year who have re-signed and who they brought in, developed over the summer, like is whoever they drafted to make that roster. It's going to be a lower pick, so I mean, it'd even be harder to even face what you got down there. So like, I mean, it's going to be like the 12th pick overall or whatever, and you come into that roster. I mean, how do you make it? I mean, same thing. For New York, it's not as low of a pick, but still, certain rosters are hard to make now, and they were already
Hmm.
hard.
Yeah.
Um, and it's careers seem like they'll be getting shorter at this rate, just because like you look at the way Dallas has kind of gone through it. And I made a list before. I'd have to go back and search where it's at, of all the players that are no longer there that have been drafted into that team since 2017. I think I
Hmm.
said 2018. A lot of notable names are gone: Kayla
Yeah.
Davis, Alicia Gray, Isabel Harrison,
Yeah.
and among others. It's like 8 players that have been drafted. Ty Harris, who's gone
Hmm.
now. Bella Allery has stepped away from the game of basketball.
Yeah.
So and I'm sure Charlie Collier is next. It's like that meme of like the Grim Reaper going up to those doors, and it's just one after the other. Just put a different face up there that's been drafted by Dallas. Like, you could be next.
Yeah.
Just knocking them down. So would a draftee make this roster? Maybe.
Potentially.
If you draft a Haley Jones, or I think I can't remember the first name, Miller. But it's still hard to make It was already hard to make rosters. I think it'd be even harder now. If your bench players definitely can't crack those aces starting lineups or those Liberty starting lineups. Like, got to dominate the bench now, and then you got to worry about a young draftee coming in. Like, you ain't taking my bench spot. Like, I already don't get the start. Like, get out of here.
Hmm.
But it'll be interesting to see how it goes, and how delayed expansion
Yeah.
might be, because it was expected to be we talked about this last year, and you were
I
talking
think
about
so.
bringing two
Yeah.
teams in the next 2 years. So we were expected 2 teams by next year, not this season, but the next year,
Yeah.
and it's not projected probably to
At this
happen now.
point, yeah.
So. With the way this is shaking out, who knows? We might have to see some retiring stars here soon. DT, hang them up. Candace Parker. I mean,
It's been a good run. Oh my
Nah,
goodness. No,
no, not like that. But
I know.
it's at some point these stars will retire, and it'll be about what talent rises up, and if that super team thing can sustain like that,
Mhm.
and if other people don't start branching off to go get their money everywhere, because it's some people. Some contracts are probably going to be upcoming soon, and people are going to want to get paydays. People have their championships. They'll be like, "All right, I've got my championship. Now it's time to go get paid. And if I can win something somewhere else, cool."
Yeah.
You know. So like, it depends on how. So Marina's situation depends on how much faith she has in what Dallas can do.
Hmm.
I think she's got a decent bit of faith. Vicky Johnson's now gone. I think that's who she had a little bit of beef with. Enrique is still there, and
Yeah.
Ty Harris is no longer there, so she would be the starting point guard still. Veronica Burton would get a decent amount of minutes, but it's still probably Marina starting. Or she could go ahead and go get a payday somewhere, because slipping into a championship team, if you go anywhere else, like where else is a championship contender that's not Washington, but you're not going to play as much there, and you definitely won't start.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you might as well stay here. You can compete to be the 4th best team in the WNBA, and be alongside your best friend still, and you still get paid. Maybe not as much as you would have if you go somewhere else, like, I don't know, Indiana, just so you can start and get some money.
Hmm.
But and maybe you wouldn't even start there now, because Erica Wheeler went there, and then
Yeah.
Destiny Henderson is the future out there. So best place I think is probably here for her right now, unless I don't know, something just opened up somewhere else that was real convenient, like a Seattle or something. But that's if you're okay with rebuilding and you just want your bread. It just depends on what she wants. But
Okay.
my indication is that she stays.
Yeah, I hope so too. I think that would be the best move. I've got 2 questions for
Okay.
you. First, I will allow you to expound on this. I'm going to allow you to expound on both of them. But first question is, and this can go both for the W and for the NBA. Um, Do you think it is more necessary to place a limit on how many like superstars can sign to a certain team, or do you think expansion would be a better way? I'm maybe a bit of both, but is there which of those is the easier way to kind of curtail this rise and building up like a super team?
Fix the charter flight issue, where I mean it doesn't kind of matter where you go,
Hmm.
but it would only help in that sense though. Ownership still matters, the city still matters, and like
Hmm.
people like to go back home anyway. So
Yeah.
there was this talk about Stu going to New York has been going on for a bit,
So, like last
and
year, we thought she was leaving last year, and then ended up going one last run with Sue and company
yeah.
out there in Seattle.
So it'll I don't know. Expansion would help because it would spread things out a bit more, but it would
Hmm.
kind of make it harder to compete. You might want super teams more once you expand because you'd have to compete against more teams.
Hmm.
So I don't know. It might just be a brief era. We might just have a little wave of it once the league expands more. It doesn't take hold again for a while because things have to spread out.
Hmm.
Superstars want to go be leaders of teams or something again, and change the
Hmm.
dynamic as the league expands. Who knows?
Yeah,
But I think maybe it's just a brief era for now. But we definitely get to see how it unfolds. This is the real
it could be
year
exciting.
that we
Yeah,
get to see how it goes. So I mean, we've got three relative super teams. I mean, especially if what we hear about EDD's health, which is a-okay out there. Washington would be considered one.
yeah,
Aces and New York. So I mean, there's three, and depending on how Dallas starts out, and if they keep Marina to help with their point guard situation, they could maybe be considered the fourth one. But
yeah.
everything would have to piece together out there perfectly for them
Hmm.
to live up to the potential that they're capable of. But we got to see how
Absolutely.
these other teams shake out too, and what LA looks like in their healthiness, and
Yeah,
Atlanta with Alicia Gray and how that backcourt looks in year two of Ryan Howard and
yeah.
such. So things could shift around. Will the Lynx go to the depths of the WNBA? Don't know. Nafisa Collier is back.
Hmm.
Aerial Powers looks good still.
Yeah.
She's trying to be an all-star this next year. So we'll see. We'll
We'll
see.
see.
And depending on how the draft shakes up as well, a lot of things still to unfold in the next couple of months, WNBA wise, before we can really kind of scape out what it's going to totally look like. We do have a small view right now, bigger view coming later on.
Absolutely. Second question, and this
Okay.
will be the last one I think I have to ask you. What is more likely, in your opinion, that we are destined to see the Aces and the Liberty crash and meet in the final this year, or that the Liberty end up being not necessarily the same, but more along the lines of the Brooklyn Nets, who
Oof.
have the talent to get there but never quite do? What do you think is more likely?
I think more likely that we see him in a finals because I think that would just be amazing to not get that Liberty team in the
Hmm.
in the finals. Like I don't even know what kind of who we could compare it to of the type of star powers that's been mashed up out in the
Hmm.
in the W that hasn't made the finals. If Connecticut didn't make it, then you could have said them this
Yeah,
last year, but they
and they
did.
made it.
So
Yeah,
and I just don't see a team that doesn't make with Sloot and Stewie who are champions already, and then Ionescu and John Quell. If
the
you don't
hunger.
make it even in season one, I don't get it. I don't
Yeah,
get it. I don't get it a
yeah,
little bit. I really kind of don't. It's it also depends. Like, what if it's like Liberty versus Washington and Washington beats you? Like, okay, all right, well,
yeah,
I get that.
yeah.
Or
I was
or it
just
ends
say,
up being Aces versus Liberty in a round before to get to the championship. It's like, okay, Aces
yeah. If if it,
actually
if it ends up being like the 2-3 matchup as opposed to like the 1-2,
right. But
yeah,
I
I can
think that is
understand
more
that.
possible than the alternative
Okay.
for sure. And I
Do you?
hope we get something like that. We're gonna get one of those of the sort. Liberty versus Washington, or Washington versus Aces, or Aces versus Liberty, or
Hmm.
one of
But
those.
you expect it to be one of those three teams that's hoisting
Right
the
now,
banner.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Right now,
I think
yes,
you're right. I think you're
for
right.
sure.
It's tough to pick against one of those three. And I guess when we get closer and closer to the season, we'll have to make those picks. But It has been a crazy start to free agency. We still got some big names out there that we'll keep an eye on as we go along and see where they end up signing. And if that changes anything.
And Vicky Johnson is now an assistant in Atlanta. I saw that news today. So she gets to go
Interesting.
back and hang out with our girl Alicia Gray. She loved Alicia a lot when she was here. She always said that Alicia was one of the best two-way players in this league, and now she gets to keep on coaching her.
Heck yeah, that's good. That's going to be a good pairing, I feel like. So
Yeah.
we'll see how that works out. But now, Drew, come to the part of the show where we get to play a little gamey game.
Little gaming game.
A little gamey game. It's with it or quit it. If you're new to the show, we're happy to have you. Don't know how you made it this far without hearing us talk about with it or quit it at this point, but
we do have some newbies. Unlike y'all, welcome newbies.
Welcome everybody. We're always welcoming, but if you are unfamiliar with how the game works, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to give my man Drew over there 5 questions.
5
of them, and he's going to have to tell me if he is with it or if he's going to quit it. So, if that man over there, Mr. Drew Ivory, is ready, we're going to start with number 1.
I am.
All right, Drew, number 1. So, we're going to talk about the NBA again. We talked about all the moves that were made. Kevin Durant to Phoenix, Kyrie Irving to Dallas, and some of the moves that have been made by the Clippers and Lakers.
Yep.
Drew, whoever emerges as the Western Conference champion is going to be the NBA champion yet again. Are you with it or are you going to quit it? So
I'm
basically,
with it.
You're with it?
I'm with
Okay.
it.
So whoever emerges from the West, whether it's Memphis, whether it's Dallas, Denver, Phoenix, Golden State potentially.
Yep.
Any of those 5 teams better than Boston, Milwaukee, anybody in the East?
I'm in on the West.
All right. I like it. So Drew is with it for number 1. All right. Number 2. Drew, we talked about it in BJ's Best and What's on Drew's Mind. Obviously, today is National Pizza Day.
Yes.
And Drew, it is better to dip your pizza into ranch than to any other dipping sauce container if you do make the little dips for your pizza. With it or quit it?
I don't dip my pizza
Okay.
in the ranch. I dip the crust.
Okay.
No. But who's dipping anything? Oh, people use ketchup. That's nasty.
No, not ketchup.
People do.
I like the garlic. You get the garlic dipping sauce like Domino's garlic.
Oh,
or
the garlic
John's.
butter.
Yeah, they got the garlic. They've got ranch. There's
I
some
don't dip
marinara.
it in there. Like when I used to work at Pizza Inn, it's what you used to spread on the outside of the crust on there, and we used to toss like this garlic like seasoning on the outside of the garlic buttery whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they've got like a little like cup that you can.
Oh, I know that's too much for me. I'll save that for when I'm eating my crab. I'll dip it. I'll dip it in. I like that.
Awesome. All right. So Drew is going to say with the crust, at least for number 2. Number 3. I'm going to switch gears. We're talking about college football, Drew. Report came out the other day that the Pac-12 is reportedly eyeing San Diego State and SMU to join the conference. They're kind of trying to come into the DFW market. Drew, the Pac-12 makes a mistake if they add these 2 schools. Are you with it or are you going to quit it?
With it.
You with it? You don't think that SMU or San Diego State are going to add much to the Pac-12 as a whole?
Nah.
Not at all. There's some good academic institutions, but
not athletically, probably.
I was going to say, do they add anything viewing wise? Are you going to watch an SMU and Cal game?
Pony up. Yeah, let me go on out there and watch some SMU, buddy. I'm just hankering to go watch them Mustangs pony up.
SMU and Oregon for the Pac-12 title or SMU Utah?
That's not ever going to happen. Do they even make the tournaments, in like basketball?
They're not. Their men's team's not too good this year. They made it in the past, but I don't know about
they
the
go
women's
anywhere?
Team.
Are they ever really relevant? No. Are we trying to wheel up and go watch some SMU basketball, BJ? No.
Probably not.
No.
No. But football's looking all right, but that's about it.
Oh, they're going to be the next TCU now?
No.
Is that what we're saying? Okay.
No, I didn't say that.
Then we're still going to
But
sit at home and watch them, if anything.
I was gonna say, I mean, I am trying to plan a very, it'll be very interesting if I can make this work, an endeavor.
Okay.
I hope that it's not like all 3 games start at the same time, but I'm trying to
Hmm?
hit up Fort Worth, Dallas, and Denton all on the same like day for see 3
Ooh.
different college football games. I think
Oh,
that can be
Lord.
done. I
Good
think it
luck
can be
with
done.
that.
I think it can be done.
Not the
Anyway.
whole games.
Not the whole games, probably not. But
Nope.
if they all start at different times, I might be able to see a half of each. And
You could do
take
like
on.
3/4 leave,
Yeah.
3/4 leave, maybe.
As long as I don't have to worry about parking, I could be able to get to the whole game. But
Ooh.
I don't know.
You'd
We'll
have to
see.
worry about parking.
Yeah,
Unless you miss the first quarter of each one.
yeah, something like that. We'll figure it out.
Instead of the last.
All right, Drew, 3 for 3 so far with the Withets.
Oh,
Number
buddy.
4.
Churning it up.
Number 4. Valentine's Day's coming up on Tuesday, Drew, and the best. I know, but you gotta get some candy. We're gonna eat some candy and make up for it. We're gonna eat some candy, and the best kind of Valentine's Day candy that you can eat is fudge. With it or quit it? You know those little
Quit it!
quit it. Those little heart boxes that have all the different types of like
Quit
chocolate
it.
in it.
Quit it.
No fudge, huh?
Ew.
You don't like
I
fudge?
don't like chocolate like that.
Oh, okay.
The most chocolate I eat is a Snickers.
Okay. But the Snickers has something Valentine's-y, I'm sure.
Eh.
Okay.
Reese's does.
Reese's is good. Yeah, I like Reese's. All right, last but not least, Drew, number 5. The big game on Sunday night.
Oh, snap.
The biggest game of the year. And at the end of the night, it will be Jalen Hurts hoisting the Lombardi Trophy as the Philadelphia Eagles get their second crown in 6 seasons. Are you with it, or are you going to quit it?
Am I answering with my head or my heart?
You can answer with both if you like.
Okay. My heart says Kansas City.
So your heart says quit it.
Yes. My head says both. Because I can't decide. My heart is with Kansas City because it can't be with the Eagles. My mind wants to
Can
say
see it going
Eagles.
either way.
My mind wants to say Eagles, but I really want to say Chiefs because I like Patrick Mahomes and I want him to be the next guy. But if he loses again, then it's not a great start. Like, I mean, it is a good start, but it's not.
I think it's interesting. Both my heart and my head can see a path to victory for Kansas City, but my brain also sees a path to victory for Philly. I think this is going to be a really good game.
I also feel like if Patty loses, and then he just goes crazy for the rest of his career and just wins championships, he's going to go down either first or second as QB all time, and he and Tom Brady both will have lost to the Eagles in one of their Super Bowl losses. But that's one of those. That's part of the script.
And that would be that would be the only 2 that the Eagles have to this point. They come against Brady and Mahomes.
Dang it! I should have made that what was on my mind. I forgot about it because it's been so long now. The script. Oh, it's been
the script leaking out for Philadelphia winning.
Just the meme in general. So funny.
NFL script, Arian Foster, right?
Yeah, and then it blew up. The quotes were so funny, dude.
Yeah, did you see?
I was up at 2 a.m. just laughing my butt off.
Did you see the videos? If the NFL was scripted and it's the Cowboys fan, he's young and he's we're gonna get back to the championship at some point. It's yeah, just hang on for a second. Comes back in 2053 and it's this old man and he's you said just to wait here for you.
Jeez, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And then like 2 day or two later, somebody was like, "NBA have a script," and they made the script for the NBA coming out. It was
Hey,
it
if
was
the
so
NBA was
funny,
scripted,
dude.
LeBron would be breaking the record tonight against Kareem's old
And then
team.
some trade deadline stuff last night, like somebody getting traded. Like, is this part of the script? It's so funny. That should
Well,
have
I mean,
blows
we
my
were talking
mind.
about Durant to Phoenix back in the summer, so that's, I mean, if the script leaked a
Fair.
little early, but
Hey,
anyway,
we wrote that one.
that is with it or quit it, Drew, and that is it for this episode. But before you go, don't forget to check out our friends over at T Public, Drew.
Yeah, T Public got a sale going on. Not as bolsterous as the usual one. T's $16, and then another site-wide sale though. So check those out and those discounts that are always out there for T Public. And if you miss it by the time this episode pops out and you get to hear it, make sure you just take advantage of the free shipping on $80 plus orders if you don't get it on the sale. So make sure you take advantage of that and shop with Fanatics, because I know Fanatics has got a sale going on too. And
Indeed, Drew. They've got a clearance sale going on right now, Drew, up to 70% off for the rest of the day and free U.S. shipping on
got some
orders over
jerseys
$24.
popping. Kevin Durant jersey out there. Kyrie
Somebody,
Irving
yeah,
jersey. Go get you a customized Stewie jersey. Go
there you
get you a
go.
customized Candace Parker to Vegas jersey if you can make one of those.
Maybe
Go
I
get it
should get one
all.
of those discount Dodo or Dinwiddie Mavs jerseys
And
before
then
it's all gone.
Yeah, and then you Chiefs and Eagles fans be prepared to buy your potential Super Bowl merch on
On
Sunday
Fanatics
night.
Sunday night,
The
yep.
moment they win, it's gonna drop.
When it
Go
goes
buy it
000, the winner's going to get the merch. The loser's going to have to chase it down to Africa.
through our link. You go buy it because you love
Link
us
in the
and we love you.
description.
Yes, read
Go
the
get your
script.
merch.
Read the script. That's what you're supposed to do. The lowdown script.
The Lowdown script. There you go.
And go follow us on social media on TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram at @the_lowdown. That's THA_lowdown on all those platforms. And like BJ said, that's the end of this episode, ladies and gentlemen. It didn't actually go as long as I thought, but that's mainly because we had a combined segment today with BJ's Best of What's on Drew's Mind. So lucky you, or we'd be here for 2 hours. But we scrunched it in there for you. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next time.